Ravens coming home to play in Baltimore against the Oakland Raiders, who are 2-1. We'll be previewing that all week long here at WNST.net, as well as in our social media. Not to mention baseball every night. Toronto, New York, the Orioles, pitching, hitting, and praying. A little bit of everything going on in the hopes that they'll be in the wild card game on Tuesday. Meanwhile, there's another undefeated team here in the region. They are the Maryland Terps. They host the Purdue Boilermakers at 3:30 on Saturday to kick off what we all hope is at least a better than choppy Big Ten play for the Terps here in year 3 of Big Ten play. Todd Helmick follows all things college football at nationalchamps.net. He is one of our defending champions and insiders talking all things college football. Todd, man, I can't even begin this week without talking about the itchy trigger finger of SEC firing ADs and boosters and zaniness. What the hell's going on down at LSU? I mean, is this a banana republic down there right now?
It's a case of, as Steve Spurrier would say, well, I tell you, some of these SEC schools, they just have too much money. And he said that, Steve Spurrier said that on ESPN Game Day last Saturday. And he wasn't even referring to Les Miles and LSU. He was talking about David Shaw, the head coach at Stanford, and how successful he's been and how he's probably going to land at an SEC school because they have too much money. And with too much money and with prior success, the expectation levels at LSU exceed anything that Les Miles is doing right now. But I think the big issue with Les Miles being let go at LSU this early is just his inability to create something offensively for the last 10 years, despite winning a national championship and having a great winning percentage.
Well, our boy Cam Cameron got caught up in the undertow as well, right?
Yes, he did. The offensive coordinator, as Ravens fans will well remember that name, got let go in the process, and they have made Ed Orgeron the coach. They haven't given him the head coach. That's called the interim head coach title right now, and I can guarantee he's not going to keep it when they finally do hire someone.
What do you make of this when you say they have too much money and these firings in season? Certainly Maryland fired a coach in season and really attributed to, well, it'll make it easier for us to hire in the offseason. It gives us a chance to look around and sniff around a little bit. It felt incredibly reactionary to me, especially given the way they lost. It was as shocking a finish as you would ever see anywhere with reverse calls and nonsense going on and replay. It's really tacky. I don't know what else to say. I called it that last year with Maryland, but I just don't think firing college football coaches in September is a good look for any program.
Well, this is nothing new. I mean, college coaches bounce around and their entire staff bounces around. I mean, every year we're talking about anywhere from 15 to 25 coaching openings because it's instant gratification society. I mean, it's about, I want to win, I want to win now. There's no more such thing as a 4 or 5 year plan. I mean, LSU's nothing new. There really isn't. And when I say they got too much money, Les Miles, all he needs to do is retire for a couple years and just collect $1 billion, well, not $1 billion, but a fat paycheck because he's under contract. And that happens with, well, a lot of SEC coaches. They don't like what they're doing, but they'll just pay them a lot of money to move on because they have the money to do that. But it's instant gratification. But now, the rumors are going to swirl. Who's the new guy going to be at LSU, which starts a domino effect. And to be honest, I think Tom Herman's going to be that guy, the head coach for the Houston Cougars, who's undefeated right now and has his team in playoff discussions. And I've heard the Jimbo Fisher thing swirl up again as well.
All right, well, we're going to get into this week, but I want to go to last week, and I want to talk Big Ten, and I want to talk Maryland and Purdue. Clearly a pretty big game for Maryland. I mean, for Durkin, for what they're trying to build there, seemingly winnable game that if you're going to be middling in the Big Ten, this is a home game and one you should win. Do you expect Maryland to win this week, or do you have any expectations at all for them?
I expect it to be a close game with Purdue, who's sitting at 2-1 right now. I know this is the Terps' homecoming. It's the Big Ten opener. It's their first, I'm not going to say true test if you want to put Purdue in that category. I thought UCF, the game down in Orlando, was a decent test. But this is the Big Ten test, and it's very important for Maryland with a lot of questions that really can't be answered based on the competition levels they've had these first three games. And I tell you, a buddy of mine, Mark Mangus, who was the quarterback for Maryland in '77, was on the front cover of Sports Illustrated.
Claiborne era, I got you right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a good friend of mine who's from Cumberland, by the way, and he told me, I said, Mark, are you going down to see the Terps again this year? He said, oh, yeah, I'm going to the Minnesota game because that's the game we get bowl eligible, meaning 6 wins. Well, he says, we got Purdue this week, then we're going to beat Penn State, and then we're going to get Minnesota, and that's going to be our game to get bowl eligible. So he seems to think the Terps are going to roll through the next 3 games.
Well, I mean, if these next 3 games are big, and obviously seeing Penn State roll over last weekend, albeit to a very powerful Michigan squad, we start to see the shaping of all of this stuff, whether it's Wisconsin and Michigan State, we're seeing Wisconsin shape their season very, very nicely, as impressive as any team in the country right now, the way they're playing.
I know we're talking Big Ten football, but on a national scale, Wisconsin is the surprise team in the country. Not Louisville. Well, maybe Louisville. I'll give you Louisville. But you've also got Texas A&M and Tennessee as the surprise teams now in playoff discussions that we may not have been hearing in the preseason. But Wisconsin, they beat LSU in Lambeau Field, all right? They go to Michigan State, East Lansing. They paced them 30-6 last weekend. And here they come. They get Michigan, then Ohio State, and an undefeated Nebraska. That is the toughest schedule I have ever heard of, including the SEC.
Well, and the toughest one will be this week at Michigan, where a win here puts them in the top 5, probably, right?
But the Big Ten did the Badgers no favor. I mean, are you kidding me? Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, Nebraska, all in a 4-week stretch. But watching Wisconsin, their defense has risen above anything we could have expected. The quarterback play has been way above anything we could have foreseen coming because these were new people filling those roles and those positions on both sides of the ball, and they've really excelled. And Wisconsin is, after that 30-6 win, headed into the Big House this weekend. I tell you, man, that's the surprise team in the country to me, next to Louisville.
Well, I mean, but can they sustain this? I mean, it's not a fluke when you have 2 wins like this. They're certainly capable of going to the Big House and winning, right?
Yeah, that game is. I don't have the schedule in front of me. That game is in the Big House, I believe. I can't remember.
3:30 at the Big House. Yes,
at the Big House, and this is Michigan's 5th home game in a row, and they're rolling just as well. This is another big test for Saturday, man. I mean, it's teams that have visions of winning the Big Ten, i.e. getting in the playoffs. These are 2 teams right here. This is a playoff game. It's why I love college football the way it is without 16-team playoff. This is a playoff game in the Big House, Ann Arbor.
Lots of big games this week, and now we will see if Tennessee can pick up where they left off. They got to go between the hedges now, take on Georgia that's had some struggles as well. But for Tennessee last week, I watched most of that game, and I don't even know why I stayed with it, because when I put it on, it was 21-0 or 21-3, whatever it was. I was watching in the afternoon. I was down in Jacksonville, had a little barbecue. I went back to my room, and I put it on. I thought, well, maybe. And then here they come, and it never stopped. And they really did pour it on. It was quite a scene to see the post-game celebration with Rocky Top there in Tennessee.
I believe that was the biggest game in Knoxville, or should I say the biggest victory in Knoxville since 1998 when they last won a national championship with T. Martin at quarterback. They had lost to the Gators 11 straight times. They were just a doormat to the SEC East. And this changed everything. Tennessee had high preseason expectations, a ton of veterans and returning starters coming back, solid quarterback and running back in the equation. And they had to get over the Gator hump. I mean, 11 years in a row, that's harsh because they are rivals, big-time rivals, and they got over that hump. They are now the SEC East favorite by everybody. And you mentioned Georgia just got shellacked 45-14 to Ole Miss. Ole Miss, a team since they lost to Florida State in the opener, is just coming on really strong with Chad Kelly at quarterback. and they just embarrassed Georgia this weekend. Nick Chubb, the Heisman running back for Georgia now, with a hurt his knee. I don't think it's season ending, but with him out, Georgia's just not a very good program. Georgia's struggling right now with a brand new coach, and he's going to start feeling the pressure now.
A&M, big effort from them over Arkansas over the weekend. They're certainly trending in the right direction again.
Absolutely, and that game was in Jerry's World out in Arlington, and that was a great game to watch because Arkansas was undefeated, and they're a very good football team. But A&M is one of the few teams I'm seeing in the SEC which is known for its defensive prowess. They're one of the teams playing SEC type of defense because there aren't many of them out there right now. And I'm telling you, I had 4 surprise teams going into this week. I already mentioned Wisconsin, Louisville, and Tennessee, but Texas A&M is my 4th. I think they're playing very good football. They got 2 or 3 running backs that are as fast as anyone in the country, and they're playing good defense. And man, you got to say at this point it's them and Alabama in the SEC West race. I mean, that showdown's coming up, and that's the big one.
Todd Helmick joining us here from NationalChamps.net and the Queen City Foundation and all the football work that he does out in Western Maryland as well. I know Clemson got the better part of Louisville got the better part of your Florida State Seminoles 2 weeks ago in an embarrassing fashion. But this is sort of one of the all of the marbles games in September, right? Louisville and Clemson. We'll be talking about how this one goes for the next 2.5 months, right?
Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin-Michigan we talked about is a huge game, but I don't think any game has its limelight as we do here at Death Valley and Clemson. Louisville at Clemson, 2 leading Heisman quarterbacks, high-scoring Louisville offense versus an incredibly good Clemson defense. Mike Williams, the receiver for Clemson, I mean, Nestor, I know you're an NFL guy. Remember the name Mike Williams. That guy, he's a senior. He got hurt last year, the first game of the year, season ending, and he came back to Clemson. That guy is all NFL. When you see him Saturday night at 8 o'clock, you'll know what I'm talking about, man. I mean, Deshaun Watson looks at him on every snap. He's so good. That game, I can't wait for that game. I mean, there's so many games within the game with that little individual matchups. Louisville's much improved defensively. I mean, this is another playoff game. I mean, I really believe if Louisville wins this game, they are going to be the ACC champs, as I predicted, because the rest of their ACC schedule is on the lighter side.
Well, only one of these teams is going to be in the Final Four, right? And it's going to be the winner of this one probably, right?
In all likelihood, yes. I mean, the ACC just doesn't seem to be strong enough of a league to put a team with one loss in there. I mean, it's difficult unless all the teams vying for the playoff have 2 losses or something along those lines. But, yeah, absolutely. A one-loss ACC team, that's a stretch.
All right, well, are you on record as predicting a Maryland victory over Purdue this weekend, Todd Helmick?
That's so close to call. I'm going to go with Maryland in the close one, but I got to say this part, too. You know, we were talking about the Les Miles situation. And being a Florida State guy, you know, as soon as Les Miles got fired, Jimbo Fisher, who they wanted last year when all this talk of letting Les Miles go came up, Jimbo is going to be interviewed for that job at Florida State. And talking to my Florida State people, they're like, well, if he does go, who would we want? Guess whose name pops up? Mr. DJ Durkin. He's only 3-0 in only 3 games into his Maryland campaign. And I think even though that's total speculation, what it signifies to me, sadly, is that any coach that finds success at Maryland, can they keep him? And you can say that about a lot of programs, but to me, it's like it's either a doorway for not doing well at Maryland and your coaching career's over, or doing well at Maryland and just moving on somewhere else. And I know Terp fans don't want to hear that, but that's just the way things are.
Well, you know, let's be happy while they're undefeated. At least we have 2 undefeated. I mean, we got the Ravens undefeated, the Terps. I got the Orioles playing to go into the playoffs. You're not going to screw my week up here, Helmick. Okay, we're going to keep it all positive here now. Come on.
Yeah, let's just stick to 2016 season and worry about all the coaching and recruiting malarkey afterwards.
Dude, you can't hope for better football than we got going on this week, especially with Wisconsin and Michigan in the early game and then the late game. Clearly Louisville and Clemson as good a game as we're going to see at any point this year. So good weekend of college football ahead. Todd will be checking you out as well as those television listings at nationalchamps.net. Always great having you on, man.
All right, thanks. Enjoy your week.
You got it. There he goes, Todd Helmick, all things college football at nationalchamps.net. Been joining us now for the better part of 2 decades here on WNST. Always good to hear from him. You can find me out in the Bahia Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear, and our morning newspaper ships to your email inbox at 7 a.m. each and every morning. That is powered up by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. Still $10 a month to get in the best shape of your life. Any breaking news will happen first on the WNST Tech Service. That is powered up by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Breaking news, trades, big things happening with the Orioles, the Terps, and, of course, the Ravens, and some injury reports as well. Wednesday night, we're going to be at Greenmount Station in Hampstead, Carroll County, with 2 great young Baltimore Ravens linemen. We got Ryan Jensen and Alex Lewis joining us. We'll have some crab cakes, be swabbing for the Bone Marrow Registry, and for There Goes My Hero. Big reminder for everyone out in Carroll County. I'm going to be passing past some places to pick up some fresh peaches and maybe some heirloom tomatoes. We'll find out if they got any left. But we'll be up at Greenmount Station. I'll be the one eating 3 crab cakes because they're tasty. That happens on Wednesday night. Nasty at WNST.net reaches me. I am a very available individual. Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Instagram, and anywhere the internet goes. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports. Towson, Baltimore, and